full confidence that that was what was going to happen. But he appeared in the flesh before them. They weren't expecting it. That wasn't what they expected to see. And finally, when he appeared to the rest of the disciples, starting in verse 36, it says, "Now as they said these things, Jesus himself stood in the midst of them and said to them, 'Peace to you.' But they were terrified and frightened and supposed they had seen a spirit. And he said to them, 'Why are you troubled? And why do doubts arise in your hearts? Behold my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Handle me and see, for a spirit does not have flesh and bones as you see I have.' When he said this, he showed them his hands and his feet. But while they still did not believe for joy and marveled, he said to them, 'Have you any food here?' They still, if you read further down, he opened the scriptures. Says verse 45 says he opened their understanding that they might comprehend the scriptures. The disciples at this point were terrified. They were scared, and that fear blinded them to Jesus actually being in their midst. So these three examples, when we have the same things happen in our lives. Sometimes we are too distraught. We're burdened by grief sometimes to be able to see God in the ways that he's working in our lives. Like with Mary, he revealed himself to her through love and through that connection that he had with her. And that's when we're stuck in our grief, that's what we can reach out to, is his love and his care and his compassion. Sometimes we're too stubborn, set in our ways to change our way of thinking, that we blind ourselves to them. We see a version of him that we thought was what he was. That was how the disciples saw him on the road. They were still looking for that king and for that person who was going to lead Israel to glory in a way that wasn't what he intended. And so when we fail to recognize him because our own misconceptions get in the way, he can help us with that too. If we continue we study, he broke bread with these disciples. He had fellowship with them, and he met with them kind of where they were and helped to open their eyes. And they said that their hearts burned within them as he was talking to them on the road and when he opened the scriptures to them. And that's what we can have the same thing if we're blinded by the things that we think we know about Jesus. Sometimes we're just afraid. We're like the disciples as they were after, following the resurrection. And he appeared to them, and the same thing. He opened the scriptures to them, and he helped them to see what they needed to see, who he truly was. And that's what the scriptures have to offer us. And so with all of that together, with his compassion, by having fellowship with him, by having fellowship with one another, by studying the scriptures, by praying and maintaining that relationship, if we devote ourselves to that, we can really see who he is. And sometimes we have to let go of these things that are blinding us. We have to put on the glasses so that we can see the signs for what they really are, and not just go off of what we've heard, what we've been taught, but things that we know we can learn from Jesus through Scripture, things that we can reach out to him through prayer. So if you don't have that relationship and you're here tonight, we would certainly invite you to study with one of us. If you've studied and you understand what Jesus calls us to do and what he asks us to do to submit to him, we're more than happy to help you in following in his footsteps, becoming, clothing yourself with him through the waters of baptism. But if you already have that relationship with him, and maybe you need to, take the blinders off, maybe you need to clear your vision up. We're also happy to pray with you, to study with you, and whatever you need, whatever's going on in your life, that we can try to help you see Jesus for who he truly is. So if you have any need tonight from the church, we ask that you come forward while we stand and while we sing.